So let's see. We're gonna go over again through the MySQL, PHP thing. Sure, everybody's kind of lost now. It's been a long time, but let's see. We were working on a website called Beekeeper, right? .com. And here the idea was to create a little registration form. Right, so the user is gonna come here, put a name, last name, email, password, create an account, and this should save information in a database in PHP. So in MySQL. So first of all, let's see how to create a connection to the database. Okay, a connection to the database will require the following information. So we will need to create a variable for the database name, right? And the database name is the one that we created inside our cPanel. So let's see here in cPanel on the MySQL databases section, we can create a new database. We can create new users, right? And we can add a user to the database giving certain privileges. We have done that before. So I already have here a database with a username and a password, right? So this database, if I go into it using phpMyAdmin, that's the database. I already have 3 tables created: users, passwords, and categories. Remember, this project was about being able to manage your own passwords and save them, and see if they were strong enough, etc. Well, we're in the first part of the project. We're giving the users the opportunity to create an account. So let's create our connection page. The connection page then will require the database name. Our database name here is, I lost it, right, is going to be Beekeeper_DB. That's the database name we gave. Right. The database username or user is going to be Beekeeper_admin. Then we need the password. Okay, I'm just gonna come up with one. I don't remember which one it was, but I have it saved somewhere, so I'm not gonna put anything for now. And we need the host. So remember, if the database is inside the same server as the website, the host becomes localhost. If they are not in the same server, then here we would put the IP address of the server where the database is located. Right. After we have this information, then we can create a variable. Some people call it link. I like to call it connection. And connection will be equal to a predefined function of PHP called MySQL connect. And MySQL connect will is this correct? MySQL connect, and this will need the username. First of all, the host, which is DB host. Let me just make sure that that's the right one. The DB host, the DB user, the username, and the database password. Right? This information is coming from here. DB name, username, and password. Then, if the connection was correct, it will give back a boolean true. If not, it will give back it will say false. So we can check if connection. If the connection was not successful, for example, if it was not connected, if not connection, we can die. So stop everything, die, and we're gonna put a message saying connection failed. Else, if it was correct, then we can select a database. So we can say MySQL. Pardon me? MySQL select database, and this will take the name of the database, which is DB name, right? And will require a connection or a link. So basically, what we do is first we connect to MySQL, and then we select a database using that connection. Right? So this is the document or the file that will connect us every time to MySQL. So we're gonna save this, for example, as connection, right? I already have it here. We save it as connection. It's the same file, and we're just redoing it. I have the database name, the user, the password, and we're gonna be using connection throughout our entire project. Every time we want to connect to MySQL, we include connection. Yeah. Here I have an include credentials because inside credentials I have the real information to connect to the database, so I don't want to show it now. I'm just making this like if this is the information, which is not, I'm gonna just comment it. The real information is inside credentials, which is another file. Okay, now so let's see if this works. If we were connected, we're going to echo connected. The only thing I have to do is to run the file connection.php. So let me see. Syntax error, there's an error, line 12. Pkeeper admin doesn't seem to be a good username. Right, so here it's supposed to be db pass, not password. Have it wrong. Okay, let's see. This is a file where I have the original database name. I don't wanna show it here because I'm recording it and I want to put it on YouTube, and I don't want anybody to access the page. All right, so this is supposed to be the information that you require, but it's not the real one. The real one is inside credentials.php. Okay. Yep. Okay, let's see. There you go, connected. So it worked, right? Perfect. So again, what you need is your username. Let's say that this is not like that. You need the database name, user, password, and the host. You connect. You check if the connection is okay. connected, else die, could not connect. There was a problem and we couldn't connect. And then we just have to include connection every time we want to do something. Ah, it's the same thing. Okay, I got it. I see your point. If not, die. It's the same thing. If you cannot connect, die, could not connect. Else, let's say, we don't say connected anymore. Else, just connect, select the database, right? All right. So, what we were doing in this little project here, okay, we're filling up the form. We have some jQuery already making sure that the form is correct, right? And if it's correct, through Ajax, it's going to send to a page all this information that we're going to save in a database. So let's see that code. Registration.php. Here are all my inputs, right? On submit, create account, I have a little JavaScript that on submit, when I click on this, it will get every single value. It's going to validate, a very simple validation here, right? If valid, using Ajax, we're going to submit the name, the last name, the email, and the password towards dbreg.php. There's a folder Ajax/dbreg.php. So here we have dbreg.php, and what dbreg does, it includes connection, you see, because we're gonna be using the database. We receive the name, the last name, the email, and the password of the new account, and we insert into users, which is a table that we have right here, users. We're going to insert into users the username, the name, the last name, the email, and the password. Now, check how password is of type blob. Why? Because we want to decrypt it, encrypt it, sorry, and save it there to have it more secure. So for now, we're not going to save the password. We're just going to save the name, last name, and email. Then after, we're going to see how to encrypt it and save the password, right? So let's try this. Let's see if it works. Let's say John Smith. John at gmail.com. John Smith. And his password. Doesn't matter, we're not going to save it now, we just want to see if this is working. Now, let's take a look at this first. When we submit to the page dbreg, we get back, no, we send name, last name, email, password, and we get back a message that we're going to alert. What message we're sending back? Well, in dbreg, we are sending back nothing. There's no message, so we're gonna put in a message, echo new account created for name, last name. Remember how when I use double quotes, I can use the variable and I will get the value. Okay, so let's see. Create account. It's not working. Let's try again. There's something wrong with the password. What's the validation in the password? Password cannot be a number. Okay, I was writing only numbers. New account created for John Smith. Perfect. Let's go check our database. Users. And there you go. John Smith. So I was able to save this into the database, right? So again, how did it work? I sent information towards the new page with Ajax. Name, last name, email, password. To the page dbreg.php inside the folder Ajax. That page, dbreg, will get through post, because that's the method that I'm using, type post. Through post, we're going to get all those variables, n, l, n, e, and p. So I have them saved in these variables here. I'm going to create a query string that says insert into users. So insert into, that is the MySQL code. Insert into users is the name of the table, right? Users, where is it? Users is the name of the table. So insert into the table users. Name equals the name that I got. Why name? Because that's the name of the table, of the column, name. I have the column last name. So last name equals also what I got. And email equals also what I got from Ajax. Password, I didn't save anything because password is of type blob and it's not going to work now. I have to convert it back. I have to convert it into, I have to encrypt it in order to save it here before. Okay, so there you go. Let's create a new one. Sam Jackson. And this is going to be tuna burger. Create account. New account for Sam Jackson created. Okay. Let's go check the database. And there you go. Sam Jackson. Okay. So that is the way we insert into MySQL. Insert into users, or insert into the name of the table, and you make column equals body. Column equals body. I'm using single quotes because the name is a string, the last name is a string, the email is a string, and the password will also be a string. If it was an integer, I don't have to put quotes, I just put the value of the integer. Okay, so let's see, let's try a different one. We're gonna try using a new file. So start from scratch, just to show you PHP. So I'm gonna create here connection equals MySQL connect. I'm just gonna include credentials. That's what I have, the usernames and the passwords. Okay, so connect to my MySQL Connect. The first thing that I need is the host, so I have a variable db host. Second thing is the username, so db user. Third thing is db password or pass. Right, inside credentials I have that information. Looks like this. I'm gonna copy if you want. Bless you. Inside credentials.php I have something that looks like this. Okay, so then I say if not connected, if there was an error in the connection, right, die connection error. Else, let's select the database, so MySQL, select DB. The database name is here, DB name. And I'm gonna connect to the database using this connection. And that's it. So this is to connect to the database. I'm gonna put here alright, now let's see how to insert. I'm gonna create this as a new file, save as, I don't know, test.php. Okay. Okay. Next thing, let's see how to insert. Well, I need to create my query. So I'm gonna create a variable q_test. Alright, query test. And we are going to insert again into the table users. So insert into users, set name equal to no, let's create a user, whatever, I don't know, Brad. Last name Brad Pitt. Pitt is P-I-T. Right. Then what else we need? His email is b.pitt at hollywood.com. Huh? World Wide Set. Okay. And then password equals, for now let's put some whatever. Okay, so that's the way to create a query to insert. Now to execute a query, every time you want to execute a query, thank you. Every time you want to execute a query, you need the function MySQL query. MySQL query will take the query that you created and will take the connection. That's it. So if I go to the page and execute test, test will connect to the database and insert Brad Pitt. Let's see. Users, and there is Brad Pitt. Okay, so that's the code used. We connect, and then I create a query and I execute the query. MySQL query. This is the one that is the PHP function that will execute a query into a specific database using the connection. That's it. Now in our project, for example, in dbreg, we include connection that contains the connection, and we execute our query. Okay? Questions?